Samsung's A series has always been in the middle of the J series and the S series with flagship grade design but very average hardware specification. The newly launched A8 Plus is here to change that with the inclusion of 18:9 display and 6GB of RAM. However, it comes with a hefty price tag of Rs 60,000. But we all know that this is the price territory where the OnePlus has been so dominant. So let's find out if the A8 Plus can give OnePlus run for its money. The phone at first glance would easily fool anyone thinking it's the Galaxy S9, and why wouldn't it? It has got the same camera and fingerprint placement, and the curved Gorilla Glass 4 back makes you think it really is. I wouldn't hesitate to call it the S9 Lite. Although without the curved sides on the display, it won't quite feel the same as S8 and S9. Upon holding the device, it is nothing short than using a high-end Samsung device or any other flagship for that matter. Not only beauty, but the phone doesn't miss out on essentials like the IP68 water and dust resistance. One of the outstanding features of the phone is its tall 6-inch 18:9 aspect ratio display with Full HD Plus resolution. Up front, it almost looks like the S9 if the top and bottom bezels weren't that big. Being Super AMOLED, the blacks are deep and contrasts are high. You will instantly love the display with its punchy color and how fine everything looks in it. Viewing angles are also great while playing games and watching movies, and under direct sunlight, the display can get bright up to 590 nits for proper visibility. It is definitely no less than the display on flagship phones and definitely better than the one on OnePlus 5. If you dive into the settings, you can also change display temperature and other variables to tune the display as per your liking. The addition of blue light filter is an essential touch, and I wish every phone had this feature. Unlike last year's A series, this year's A8 Plus has a fairly powerful Exynos octa-core chipset with powerful Cortex A73 cores to deliver better performance. For day-to-day tasks, it feels fast and you won't run into any issues. But as you load more apps in the background, there are a few noticeable hiccups, like the scrolling becomes a bit jittery and app switchings with double-click on the recent tab becomes slow. App openings are fairly fast, and the 6GB of RAM on board keeps plenty of them in the background without having to reopen them. Although Experience UI is pretty minimal for its own good, I feel that it is still responsible for the jittery scroll effect and slow app switching. Coming to the gaming performance, this chipset can very well handle all the mid-tier titles on the Play Store. But when it comes to the high-end games, the poor GPU fails to deliver enough power, which resulted in sluggish animation on the Asphalt 8, but the Modern Combat 5 was playable. If performance is what you're after, then for 60,000 rupees, you can get either the OnePlus 5 or the Xiaomi Mi 6, both of which sports the powerful Snapdragon 835 chipset, which can cross almost any high-end games on the Play Store, even the new PUBG for mobile at the highest settings. We also put both the phones through Antutu, Geekbench and Benchmark, and every time the OnePlus 5 outnumbered the score of A8 Plus by miles, which also resulted same in the real-life usage. The A8 Plus is running on Android 7.1.1 with a promised Oreo update on the pipeline. Samsung has promised to keep up with the regular Android security patches, so it will be getting scheduled security updates on time. With Experience UI 8.5, you get every feature that's available on the Samsung's flagship. It has got Face Unlock, although kind of slow, always on display for a quick glance at time and notifications, wallpaper and theme store, along with that cool on-screen navigation buttons. There are tiny bits of feature here and there that enhances the usability even further, like scrolling on fingerprint sensor to bring the quick toggles, gaming mode to restrict notifications while gaming, one-handed mode, cache cleaner, and so on. The camera is always the most looked upon feature on Samsung phones. The 16-megapixel back camera does a good job to hold on to your expectations. The images it produces are sharp with pretty good saturation, which is typical of Samsung. It also has pretty good dynamic range, which often brought details in the shadows. The phone does come with a Pro mode, but it's an overstatement to think of it as something extraordinary, as it only provides options for exposure, ISO and white balance. With wide f1.7 aperture, it performed well on low lighted conditions. The images certainly has some grains, but the details are certainly there. But the inclusion of optical image stabilization would have improved the night photography to some extent. We put the A8 Plus camera to test against the OnePlus 5. When compared side by side, the images produced by A8 Plus has better highlights as the objects are lit well. And typical of Samsung, the subjects are well saturated, but when it came to details, I found the OnePlus 5 preserved more details in the images. When it comes to videos, it can shoot Full HD at 30 fps but has no 4K recording. The video comes out with good details, contrast and is very clear. The front with the dual 16 megapixel plus 8 megapixel camera is the feature highlight of the phone. So I had very high expectations with the secondary wide angle lens. But upon using it, it has very less field of view than what I would normally call a wide angle. The wide angle camera is surely a disappointment on this device. On the bright side, the images are commendable at good lighting conditions with adequate details, colors and sharpness. Although when the beauty mode is turned off, the image processing tends to smoothen the skin a bit. Not to forget the dual lens offers live focus mode which will shoot bokeh images. The edge detection around the head is particularly good, but other areas remain without blur or the blur moves into the subject itself. Overall, you will shoot plenty sharp photos with all the 3 cameras on this phone without any complaints whatsoever. The Samsung Galaxy A8 Plus packs a 3500 mAh battery which provides around 5 to 5.5 hours of screen on time, which means it can easily last for a day on moderate uses. You also get adaptive fast charging which will charge the device up to 40% within 30 minutes and a full charge within 1.5 hours. On the connectivity front, both the dual nano SIM slots offer 4G and offers excellent network strength and call quality. The earpiece was loud enough to produce clear sound and I had no problems making calls even in a crowded environment. The loudspeaker, awkwardly positioned on the right side, is surprisingly loud and the audio is crisp for listening to music and while playing games. Also, the audio output from the 3.5mm headphone jack is one of the best in its price segment. It produces one of the cleanest audio through headphones with no audio distortion, and every other aspects like the bass, treble and the mids are balanced well. With the new Exynos SoC on board, you get the latest Bluetooth 5.0, there is also dual band AC Wi-Fi and USB-C port. So in conclusion, the Galaxy A8 Plus is the Samsung flagship wannabe that almost made it, if it wasn't for the price. For 60,000 rupees, it offers an excellent build quality with IP68 certifications, good pair of cameras, clean audio, sharp and vibrant AMOLED display and a day-long battery life. But where A8 Plus was outclassed by its competitors was with the performance. If you are not a heavy gamer, the A8 Plus seems a good buy, but with the same price, you can have the OnePlus 5T that offers better processor, faster software updates, and slightly better camera performance. So what do you think about the price of this phone given the specification it has? And do you think it is a better buy compared to the OnePlus 5? Let us know in the comment section below. And I'm Yankee, I'll see you in the next one.